Albert JTV community, welcome back to the channel. Match review time, plenty to talk about. Arsenal won, Brighton won. Oh dear, in the title, people, controversial refereeing, but there's a lot more to talk about than just that. But we'll get into it straight after the Albert JTV intro.
And I can see the logic behind the signing, even though some Arsenal fans.
We actually worked a good passage of play. Arsenal and footballing community, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to Albert JTV. Good morning, Albert JTV community. Before I go into it, the match review, could you guys hear me before I came onto the screen? Because what it is you can take yourself off of mute and do a little intro, then obviously play the music intro, but it automatically goes to mute when you guys do the intro. So if I was talking, hopefully you guys heard me, the little intro into the show, but if not, then you would have seen silence and then cut into the music intro. Hopefully that makes sense. As I like to say, that your resident Albert JTV, happy Sunday morning at 10 minutes past 9, sorry, and 47 seconds counting. Smash the likes through the roof on all platforms, obviously watching live on Twitter, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. Let me come to the chat quickly before I get into even more stuff to talk about. Jay Collins, a regular supporter of the channel. Big up to you, man. Lots of love, bro. Yeah, listen, we'll talk about refereeing. And let me say something, yeah. Because obviously, you guys on social media, as I am, people get very tetchy and upset and why they complaining. And every football fan of every club will go through this process with the officiating in this country. So stop moaning at other fans talking about. That's why you see what happened with Newcastle. I'm digressing now. Last season at St. James's Park. When Newcastle got done in the Champions League, I didn't say anything because I thought, yeah, he was very quick to not be universally in terms of the referees. So cool. You know what I mean? We'll remember that. But here comes the chat. Yeah, we'll get into it. Don't worry. Go on, Doug. My Liverpool brother, man. What's going on, man? Big game day for you guys, man. 4 p.m. Of course, I'll be watching, man. Or sorry, 4:30 p.m. kickoff to be precise. Scott, man, my Australian brother from another mother. What are you? 11 hours ahead? Is it that right, Scott? Or behind? No, you must be ahead. Scott, you need to come back on the channel, man. I would fly to Australia to convince you, but that's a long way to come. You might not even be in. You might be at work. So, Scott, love you, man. Love Scott Borgie, people. Come to chat quickly. Great to see you on TNT. Yes, I'm so happy for you. Doug, love you, pal. Yeah, let me get that out of the way first. So, yeah. Now, for many of you who might know, I didn't have a phone for about a week. So, I mean, I had a phone because I need my phone for work. But yeah, so people tried to get hold of me. I did put something on social media saying, look, if you want to get hold of me, get me on socials. So I only got my phone back late Friday and didn't really have it in operation till probably yesterday, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, Dan Pottsy, big up Dan Potts, love Dan. He messaged me on Facebook, and I'm like, Dan don't private message me on Facebook unless it's something important. So he mentioned, Dan's been on TNT. I think it would have been his third time yesterday. So they kind of mentioned they might need another Arsenal fan. And Dan thought of me. So that's how it happened. And yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing to meet, obviously, Martin Kieran played for my club. Crouchy, obviously, we know he's tall, but when you see him in person, man, flipping up. And got to meet the amazing Jules Breach. She's just great, just an amazing, lovely woman, man. Obviously, got to meet the rugby boys, Joe Marler and Marcus Smith. Marcus Smith looks sharp, man. But he was sitting in the director's box, obviously. I didn't know there's Brighton fans, Joe Marler. Joe Marler's hilarious, by the way, if you follow rugby. Marcus Smith is just an amazing talent. So, yeah, absolute privilege. And, yeah, man, it was Nice thing to do. And luckily, the one most important thing, the weather held out, which is very, very important. Trust me. Doug, love for that, and big up to people in the chat, and the messages on social media has been crazy. It's mad, absolutely mad. Jenny, my favorite Jenny. I don't know any other Jennies. I actually don't know any other Jennies. So Jenny, that's what I mean. It's good to see you yesterday. Yeah, thank you for confirming that, Scott. I was like, oh no, I've been talking and I put myself on mute. Oh God. Yeah, cheers, guys. Right, let me get going. Yes, thank you, Jenny. I'll pay you later, Jenny. You're too kind. So yeah, man. Listen, a draw yesterday. You can look at it either way, whether point gained, 2 points dropped. I think it's 2 points dropped. A couple of guys. Yeah, I did I was talking to Fanny saying, "Oh, do you see it as 2 points dropped or 1 point gain?" I said 2 points dropped, and they looked at me like they were dumbfounded. I said, "Well, it's how you want to look at it, isn't it? I mean, if we're 1-0 down going into injury time, we equalize, then you can have the argument that it's a point gained. But when you have chances to win the game at 1-1, even with 10 men, you have to look at it as 2 points dropped." People might say, "Oh yeah, but we could have gone 2-1 up and there was still time for Brighton to get into the game." Of course there was, but the fact of the matter is you put yourself in a position to go 2-1 up. But let me sort of rewind back. The team lineup, Trossard starts. He starts, and I called for it. I thought, Martinelli's been given the berth, obviously, on the left in the first opening 2 games. Hasn't looked great. And yeah, we'll touch on him. But so Trossard starts, and I had nothing against that. Absolutely not. Obviously, we saw the news about Mikel Moreno. I couldn't believe it, people. Honestly, I was at work, and the notification coming through that he's injured, and we don't know how long he's going to be out for, man. Is this? I hope it's short term, whatever short term might be, or we might lose him for a considerable amount of time. I still can't believe it. These things happen, of course, but yeah, happy with the team lineup. Brighton have got some very good players, man. Let's have it right. They're a very good side. They've played good football under 3 different managers now, with Potter, De Zerbi, and obviously Fabian Hürzeler, who's has warmed himself up slowly in the Premier League, to put it politely. But I actually thought Arsenal started well for the first 15 minutes. I don't know what you guys think in the chat, but I thought we started well. I thought Saka looked very dangerous. He got sort of his combination play going with Ben White and Martin Ødegaard. I like Timber at left back. I was talking to some Arsenal fans yesterday, and they wasn't sure. I'm like, no, he's obviously good at inverting and going forward, but defensively he gives us a hell of a lot more. But yeah, I thought Arsenal were bright, man. I don't know what people thought. But I said this to some of the guys outside the ground yesterday after the game. I thought there was a spell after the first 15 where it hit a bit of a lull. Like, Brighton didn't really open us up. We didn't really get a foothold in the game in regards to getting the first goal. And it just kind of hovered the first half for me for about, after the first 15, I'd say, until we got the goal, well, about 5 minutes before half time. Then I thought you saw the sort of the gear change, and the fans are up. And listen, we had a couple of good chances in the first half before we got the goal. I mean, what a cross by Leandro Trossard, man. Ødegaard, who you would want in that position, coming from deep, better contact, put us 1-0 up. Saka's had the chance where I think Ødegaard's flicked it over the top to him. On another day, Saka buries that to the goalkeeper's left or to the goalkeeper's right, but unfortunately hit it straight at him. So that's 2 chances already before we get the goal. And listen, what a goal! I thought it was a brilliant finish, man. It's a superb finish from Kai Havertz. And we've only just started the season, and another assist for Bukayo Saka. And a really, really good finish, man. A really good finish. I got a bit where I was sitting. when he went through, I was just thinking, for the love of God, just if it comes in, if it goes in off the post, smacks the goalkeeper's face and goes in, just please bury this kite. And he did as a brilliant finish, and we go 1-0 up. And like I said, it was a little bit similar to the Villa game last week, where when we got the first goal, the game was completely chalk and cheese for me. We were more dominant. Saka got into the game more. Odegaard got on the ball more. Obviously, the change of Trossard last week came on and made a difference. But Arsenal were a lot better. They looked a little bit more threatening. You thought, you know what? If we can go and get the second goal, what a buffer that would be going into half time. But listen, at the time, we took the 1-0. And I thought we just about probably edged it to go 1-0 up. I don't know whether many Arsenal fans would have been grumbling, saying we didn't deserve to, or maybe footballing purists were going, oh, Arsenal a bit fortunate there. But I thought we were just about on the money to go at least 1-0 up in that game, and we did. And I just thought a bit more. What I'd like to see with Arsenal, I don't know what you guys think. Big up to people in the chat. See Fergus pop up in there. Fergus' beautiful man hug yesterday. And I would like to see Arsenal, and this is going to reference the Brighton goal, actually. Just because Saliba can do it, Gabriel can do it. I know Thomas Partey is very good at playing that incisive ball through the middle of the park, but our centre-halves can do it. The pass is always on. I'd like to see them do that a little bit more, and then get possibly Odegaard a little bit more on the half turn, as opposed to receiving the ball pretty deep, because he doesn't need to if you've got the likes of you and Timber, who's going to come centrally and add that extra body in midfield. But that's one thing for me I'd like to see. I think our centre-halves can do it. They've shown that they can do it, stepping into midfield and just drawing out the opposition midfield players and the attackers. And I think we need to do that a little bit more for me, a little bit more quickly as well, moving the ball quicker. But listen, we go 1-0 up, which I thought we deserved personally. Guys, get your questions in if you want to. I'll star them, and I'll answer them probably as we go during the stream, and probably answer them to the back end of it as well. Not going to be a long one, people, for Sunday morning. But what you don't want, and we had a bit of a warning sign, because obviously I've put in the title controversial referee, and I think I'm being polite by saying that, to be honest. Because there were a lot of, as you saw in the first game against Villa last week, there was a lot of stoppages and fouls that were given that were not given, and vice versa. And we get the big moment just a few minutes into the second half with Declan Rice. I mean, I'm not going to spend too long on it, because a lot's been said. Because what I wanted to do, obviously, I was in a good area. Actually, to be fair, I was in a very, very good area where it was. I was in the corner, it was row 11, where it kind of happened. And obviously, my first initial thought was, he's going to bring out, if he's not going to send off Veltman, he's going to at least give him a yellow card. So when he pulled out the yellow card and he brought out the red card, I thought, what's going on? And then I realized it clocked that obviously Declan Rice got booked in the first half. I couldn't believe it. So I'm talking about at the time. I thought, I don't know what's going on here. And then it got made clear to me that, he's kicked the ball away. And what I've seen now, personally, I don't know, you guys, I don't think you would have seen anything different from what I would have seen, but Veltman moves the ball forward, then it comes off the back of Declan Rice's heel. That's true. Then obviously there's a second movement where he kind of kicks the ball away, and there's obviously been a directive in terms of the threshold for kicking the ball away, the how far it is, whatever. They've kind of said, no, if you kick the ball away, straight yellow card. On reflection, Rice was stupid. That's my own personal opinion. Doesn't matter whether it's 6 inches, 10 inches. He kicked it 20 yards down the pitch, like what's the guy's name? Was it João Pedro that kicked the ball down in the first half? And no yellow card. But I thought about this morning. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm looking at Chris Kavanagh and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way unless you've got X-ray vision eyes, he would have seen that. He cannot have seen that unless he's on my side of the picture I'm watching, and even I didn't pick it up at the time. There's no way he could have seen that. He must have been told. If it's not by the officials, maybe the Brighton players ran to him and said, "You know what? He's kicked the ball away." Because I cannot believe for 1 minute that Chris Kavanagh can turn around and say he saw that. There's no chance he saw that. I'm sorry. And as for Veltman coming out after the game, I heard what he said after the game. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. You're trying to tell me you're trying to start an attack. I'm looking at the angles of the pitch. I'm thinking, you haven't got anything on. You've deliberately done that. I've seen people kick the ball against people, but you actually took a swipe and you kicked the player. He should have gone. If you're going to send off Declan Rice, I will give you that at best. But you have to make it 10v10. Veltman knew exactly what he was doing. And he took Rice out, hook, line, and sinker. And it turned the game. It absolutely turned the game. And even to give more evidence of that, I don't know if you guys saw it on Sky this morning. There was like a graph, a momentum graph. I'm going to find it if I can come back off the screen. Let me see if I can find it. Bear with me, people. I'll be back. Yeah, I saw it on Sky this morning. I'm going to try and find it, people. Bear with me. It is here. There it is. So it's like a momentum map of from where the sort of the attacks were. What's that? You've got I can't even see that, it's blurred out, but the right in the corner. So obviously you got Declan Rice's red card at that moment, but you look at the sort of the graphic for the first half, and it looks pretty even if you're stat padded. Then obviously you see the red card with Declan Rice, and then Brighton just obviously have just dominated us from that point, which is going to be the case, with respect to being at home, because we're down to 10 men, and we've lost a key player in that position in terms of Rice, who will spot danger, which we'll probably allude to in terms of Brighton's goal. But yeah, I saw that map this morning, and I thought, wow, what a shift change, what a difference a decision can make. Whether Chris Kavanagh wanted to make that decision or not, he did. He made the decision. And you guys will know this. When I didn't know he was a referee at the time, actually, when Newcastle played Bournemouth last week. And you had the incident with Joel Linton, who did a clothesline forearm sling shot round the guy's neck, the Bournemouth goalkeeper, and nothing was done. And as a reward, you get to referee another Premier League game, which happened to be ours. And it's worrying times with officiating already 3 weeks in. And I listened to Steve Cooper this morning talk very eloquently about all the meetings and people coming to grounds to go through this procedure and this protocol, and you get the decision in the match they got yesterday. It's like, what's the point of having all these directives and meetings? People can talk about the laws, and let's have some common sense. And Ferguson mentioned, I think he mentioned, you ruined the game. You ruined the game. He could not wait to get the yellow card out for Declan Rice. But I go back to what I said before. There's no, if Chris Kavanagh can sit here and tell us as Arsenal fans, he definitively saw that from Declan Rice, then I'm sorry, I'll say he's a liar. There's no way he could have seen that. He would have had to have been assisted, whether that's on the players of the pitch or someone told him in the VAR thing, because it doesn't make any sense. Just to cut away from that, people, quickly. And for the guys that weren't at the game, tell me, or when you got home yesterday night, whatever, that Ben White, I at the time when the first half, when he had the shot at goal, which was on target, by the way, he struck it well. Was that checked? Because I saw Havertz and Ben White go up immediately and say, that's handball. That's traveled a long way, and that was not a natural movement. Absolutely not. So I don't know if that was checked, but that, to me, that could have been given easy as a penalty. Hence the reason why Ben White and Havertz. So guys, let me know in the chat if that was actually checked for VAR. Because if it wasn't, then they said, is that what they said? Wow. Listen, Leon, if they're saying that was a natural position, I need to start wearing my glasses when I go to football, because the distance that ball has traveled, for them to say that, to me, is insane. It's insanity. It's absolutely insanity. Yeah, Doug, they would have had to have told him that, because the angle where I was sitting, Doug, I'm in the corner flag facing Declan Rice and Veltman, row 11. I'm thinking, if I didn't see that sitting where I was sitting, there's no way the referee could have seen that. Absolutely no way. But the thing is, with players, when you give people, when you give them an opportunity, when you give the referee an opportunity to make a decision, not even 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, they will, and they'll send you off or they'll book you. And that's what happened with Declan Rice. So that put us in the hole. You saw the graphic with the map, how the game changed completely. Before I come on to the next section, let me quickly go through you guys' chats. I'm going to get you guys interaction. I'm going to go back up the screen. Yeah, Brighton were decent, man. Listen, let's have it right. They're not some pub team or scratch team. They've got some very good players. Very, very good players. Lovely, and thank you. Yeah, 100% 2 points dropped. Oh yeah, also audio listeners, how could I ever forget you? I'm just going through the chat box quickly for my amazing people watching. This will go out on the audio for Spotify and what's the other one called? Apple. Another downloads out there. Jenny will touch on that. We'll touch on that 100%. Because I understand why you said that, because we spoke after the game. My friend Fatchy showed and he had to have an operation. Reckoning will be out for 2 months. Jay Collins, you make a call. I'm going to say this because when we spoke, when me and Potsy were speaking to Martin Keown, we was talking about the injury to Moreno, and he said Keown had an injury similar, but they didn't know at the time, and he played another game, and then I think he said he broke it, and he was out for 4 months. And you're like, because the thing is, this is the kind of injury you associate with jockeys, like horse racing. But yeah, I'm praying it's, but I'm not hopeful. I'm going to be really, really honest. Morning, Jason. Morning. Come to the chat again quickly. Jay Dye, my guy, love, bro. Thank you, man. Love to you, man. Next time you see me, come and tap me, nudge me, shake hands, whatever, man. We'll talk ball, man. Yeah, Jay Dime, I will touch on that as well. 100%. 100% will touch on that. Right, let me come back. I'll come back to chat in a minute, guys. Amazing. Smash the likes, man, people. Get the likes up on all platforms. So yeah, the ref must have got told that. So that changed the game. Now, the goal we conceded, Doug, particularly if you're a neutral fan, and I touched on this about 3-4 minutes ago about Saliba and Gabriel, because they can do that. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant pass by Lewis Dunk, but that ball's come a long way to go through our midfield, right through to both our centre-backs, and the guy still got the shot off. It's too easy. The guy sitting next to it was too easy for that pass to be made and for us to be on the back foot from the amount of distance covered. That can't happen. That cannot happen. I thought Gabriel, I watched it about 3 times. Normally, I can't remember the name of the Brighton player, but I actually thought he should have got there, Gabriel. But I think what he did was he pulled out of the challenge going to ground because he came into the box. And that's the only thing. Otherwise, I think he should have stopped him getting the shot off in the first place. But then obviously, you get the shot off. David Raya makes the save. But yeah, it's 1-1. And you know, it's tough. And I know some people moaning next to me that I think the change when Calafiori come on, I know he came on after the goal, but that change would have been done anyway because defensively you've got to show us up because we're missing, you know, the linchpin of Declan Rice there. If Declan was on the pitch, maybe he would have been there to block that out. Who knows? Hindsight's a beautiful thing, but 1-1. There's still quite a bit to go. It's still quite a bit to go in the game. And you're thinking to yourself, I just hope Arsenal can find a way to win this game, even down to 10 men. By the way, shout out to Davarel. I thought Davarel was solid yesterday. Made a couple of very good saves, and his distribution, and there was no panic, and there was a calmness and a surety there from him. And I mentioned this before. Maybe now he feels home at Arsenal now. He's the number one, and he put in a really solid performance yesterday. I thought personally, catching, everything. Thought he was good. But listen, we can talk about the refs, which I'll touch on a bit quickly. I know Fergus is a big rugby fan. I am, and as you know, with officiating in rugby union, the officials are mic'd up, so you get it's transparent, and you get a correspondence of what they're talking about and why these guys are making the decisions they're making. I don't think it will happen in football, but it should, because these officials, whether the PGMOL, put them all in the same brush. I don't care. Needs to be held accountable. I'll say why it won't happen. I'll say why it won't happen in football. It should happen, but it won't, because the refereeing standards and officiating is horrendous anyway, and it has been for a number of years. This is not a knee-jerk reaction, as many people in the chat will agree. Football fans across the globe, or particularly talk about the Premier League, there's a lot of money pumped into this. You know, officials have it in this country now with football, where you are aided to make better decisions. And let me be very, very clear when I say better decisions. I'm talking about decisions that are super critical. Yeah, we can talk about sending offs and rest of it. I'm talking about offside goals in particular. Critical decisions. And they're worse with technology. How can you be worse with something that's helping you? That's with people advising you. You even have monitors on the pitch to go look at it yourself. And we're worse off. That makes no sense, man. Cricket are not worse off having technology. Rugby union are not worse off having technology. Tennis isn't worse off for having technology. But football's got worse. Before and with Howard Webb here. And the reason why they will never mic them up, right? Because it will highlight their incompetence even more. And I understand referees make mistakes, but it's trying to relieve not making such poor decisions at critical moments of the game. And not just that, I thought subsequently his refereeing after sending off got worse. It got absolutely worse. Arsenal, I think, Arsenal got 6 bookings yesterday? I mean, if somebody can tell me, and I asked about 100 million fans after the game yesterday, please tell me why Chris Kavanagh booked Thomas Partey. I'm still trying to find out the answer today. It was insanity. The Brighton players go down, he gives them free kicks. I lost count the amount of times Arsenal players have fouled Havertz, Saka, Erdegaard, and he's just waved play on. And fair play to Mikel Arteta, because I think a couple of seasons ago, he would have come on the pitch and lost his head. But I noticed when the game was done, though, when he went straight down after the tunnel, after all the handshakes were done and the rest of it, because referees are not held accountable. They're not. They're absolutely not. They get demoted to a championship game, and then they come back into the Premier League a week, 2 weeks later. The only thing there's a positive coming into national break is that I talk about referees. We'll probably talk about them anyway, but and it's going to get worse. I'm just waiting for the next decision. And like I said to you before, Chris Kavanagh had the game last week for Newcastle Bournemouth, and he missed that decision. I mean, Joe Linton had the guy, he had like a lasso around his neck with his arm, and he waved play on. It's remarkable, man. Listen, let's have it right. Let's have it very, very right. Let me make this very clear. Despite the horrendous refereeing, Arsenal had their chances to win that game. If you're talking about the first half, you can talk about the Erdegaard chance and the Saka chance. In the second half, Kai Havertz has done all the hard work. He showed the pace. He showed the strength to get past. Is it Van Hecker? But he has got to finish that, man. He has to finish that. He absolutely has to finish that. And this is where I say where Arsenal fans have the right to question. Yes, we will score goals. That's not the problem. My issue is, and I've said this for quite a few years actually, and more so the last year, it's about those clutch moments, unfortunately. It's about those clutch moments. And I talk about clutch moments. Let me be clear. We played Tottenham last season 2-0 at the Emirates. Arsenal 1-0 up. We have the big chance to go 2-0 up with Jesus. Blazes it over the bar. Clutch moment. That's what I'm talking about. Arsenal will score goals this season. Kai Havertz will score goals this season. Ødegaard, Saka, Martinelli hopefully will try and come good. Trossard. We've got goal getters in the team, but we're talking about crucial elements that are going to help us to get over the line and win in the Premier League. Jay Dimes touched on it earlier, and you guys saw it yesterday. 2 back-to-back hat-tricks in a row for Haaland. 2. Clinical. Super clinical. I mean, the first goal, clinical. Second goal, clinical, an unbelievable strike. Third goal, masterclass clinical. People talk about fine margins. That's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, there's not 20 million Haalands out there, but I think for me, that's going to be the thing with Arsenal. And when we talk about the transfer window very, very quickly, I was left a little bit underwhelmed, I have to be really honest with you. I didn't know what to expect with Arsenal, the transfer window. I'm going to be really, really honest, just going by what we've had before in the past. I mean, can any Arsenal fan be honest and say, right, going into any transfer window over the last 5 or 6 years, let's go even 10 years, that Arsenal are confident to get things done? They address areas in 1, but not 2. Then it goes season by season by season. I have no problem moving players on and getting monetary value for them. But who's already at the club and who are you bringing in? Because if, for example, Jenny's mentioned Trossard, this is why people always have the conundrum with him that he's more impactful coming off the bench. And there is actually a very good argument for that. He scored us a lot of goals, important goals last season. He scored 17 goals, I think he did in all comps. But a lot, I think he's top in the charts in Premier League for guys coming off the bench scoring goals. I think it's him and John Duran from Aston Villa. And it's those clutch moments. And if we lose Trossard, for example, who are we bringing off the bench? I think Ethan will get a good run this season in the team. I do, because we're going to have a lot of games. But you saw when Ødegaard got injured yesterday, and I would have took him off because the injury completely nullified him for the whole game. He spent about 5-10 minutes trying to run it off. And then when he did run it off, he wasn't effective anyway. And then eventually he got bought off in the second half anyway. But yes, it's the clutch moments, man. Massive chance for Havertz. That was huge, man. Being that 10 man. Obviously, we had the chance with Saka as well. But I could see from where I was sitting, where you guys are sitting, Ferguson's in a good seat, so he would have seen it. Like, it was a great run by Havertz, great cross, but you could see Saka was still trying to kind of make up the ground to get on the end of it. Hence the reason why you had the shot that you had. When he got there, it just didn't have enough, what's the word? It didn't have enough pace on it to beat the goalkeeper. Hence the reason why the goalkeeper saved it comfortably. But, you know, there's no criticism on Havertz's ball. It's just that Saka you could see he was always kind of second favourite to get a very good contact onto it. And he didn't, unfortunately. And those were the 2 big chances. And even when we got 6 minutes of injury time, I was thinking just create one more opening. But the ref, some of the decisions, man, just anytime a Brighton player went down, he just gave the decision. It was incredibly frustrating, absolutely. But let me come to the chat quickly, man, because we're not gonna go on for long and long. But yeah, man, Haaland back-to-back hat tricks, man. Jesus Christ, bro. Wow, the guy's a machine, man. And the thing with Arsenal, let's be honest, as Arsenal fans, Arsenal were looking to improve that area. Hence the reason why they went for Benjamin Sesko. He wouldn't have been my pick personally. And I've said this about Sesko, and it's nothing personal. I just think he needs a couple more years of seasoning, jerk seasoning. It's not to say he's not a good player. He's not got potential, but Arsenal obviously wanted a striker. That's obvious. Jesus is obviously out. Don't know how long for. Moreno's out. We don't know how long for. Rice is suspended for Spurs now. It's going to be a big miss. You'd expect Jorginho to come in. We'll see what happens with the international break, really. But yeah, it's a big blow to lose Rice for Spurs. He hasn't particularly lit up his first 3 games of the season. Anyway, Declan Rice, maybe that's a bit of a hangover from the Euros, but in that sort of advanced role, he's not really looked great. If I'm going to be really, really honest, I think he's been poor. But to miss him for Spurs is bad, colossal blow. And I think what was a little bit worrying. Now I understand you've got to make subs when you're down to 10 men. But I was at a point, I don't know what you guys think in the chat. I was like, I don't know what system we're playing. I could see at one point we went 3 at the back, and then Timber went over to right back, and then Calafiore is a wing back on left back. And then we brought in Zinchenko, and then after that, I was like, I was kind of lost for the formation, to be honest with you, man. So I think it just shows a little bit that we're too short. I really, really think that's why I wasn't, overly delighted with the window. It didn't go how I thought it would go. Sterling, I hope he can hit the ground running. He's got a point to prove. He'll be hungry. He's in London still. And one thing with Sterling, he's got excellent game intelligence and movement, which is something that I would expect to see more of Martinelli, to be fair. But yeah, people, listen. Let me come to the chat quickly. Hawk wins. Big up to you, man. Thank you for tuning in. You know what it is? How can I put this? As the window went on, it was pretty obvious. It was pretty clear to me at a point that Arsenal weren't going to bring in a striker. And I was personally resigned to that. I don't know how you felt, Hawkind and the guys in the chat. Then I thought, you've got to bring in a wide forward. You have to. And we did it with Sterling, you understand? But that's not, Arsenal knew that was a big thing, man. And listen, people who've heard me talk about Gyökeres, I would have loved him at Arsenal. The release clause hasn't changed. It's about 87 million quid. I've wanted the guy since December last year. He's a goal machine. He's an assist machine. He would bring a lot to Arsenal. And I've heard Arsenal fans say, we'll wait till next season, but the striker market is not in abundance, man. So it's a very dangerous game to play, to wait to see what the options are for next season, for example, what's out there. But listen, I'm not paid. I don't work at Arsenal. I'm not paid to make these decisions. So it's frustrating, man, because I think, like I mentioned, we were that key 2 words, clutch moments, man. And we had them yesterday. We had some last season, and we didn't take our chances. And that's the difference. I said with Havertz, he will score goals, but in the Euros, he should have been top goal scorer for Germany. He had a plethora of chances, and he'll get more for Arsenal. He just needs to. And I get it. He's not a striker. We didn't buy him to be a number 9. We didn't. If Mikel saw that vision, listen, he knows better than I do. But I don't think he did. But I think he's been told now, you're the main man up front. And I guess the more he plays up there, the more he gets clinical. But we need it now, like ASAP now, as in yesterday. And like people said in the chat, Haaland, monster, absolute monster. Let me come to the chat quickly, man. Big up 2 people in the chat, man. Lively. Big up to those who are watching on YouTube as well. Doug, my guy, man. Do you put Sterling into the starting lineup for a North London derby? That would be a huge call. So I look at the makeup of the team, Doug. Martinelli's confidence and decision making not great. Trossard's not a starter. I don't think he would start, Doug, just purely because I think he would start Martinelli against Spurs. Saka's obviously occupying the right-hand side. So I think he'd come on as a sub. I don't think Issy Trossard start next week. I think Jenny made the point. I think with him, it's when he starts games, he's I don't recall too many games where he started where he's played well. I don't know what maybe. Did he come on a sub Brighton last season away when we trounced them? But he scored in that game. But I'm off the top of my head, I'm like, did he start or did he come on as a sub? I can't remember. But yes, with that question, Doug, I don't think he will start. But I didn't have a problem with him coming, and I didn't see that come. I didn't see that happen. I didn't see that coming for 1 minute with the transfer window. Him coming to us, but he did. And a lot of people said with Reece Nelson, by the way, he's gone to Fulham. I hope he does well. Now, he had a good pre-season for Arsenal. And it wasn't a problem Reece going. It's how late in the window it happened. Because with Jesus, Doug, we flip a coin whether he's going to be, he had a pre-season. He looked sharp. Not coming from a major tournament. And then he's missing second game of the season. Or first game of the season, whenever it was, second game of the season. It's like, oh man, like we can't catch a break, man. Seriously. Yeah, well, hopefully we're not. Because the thing is, Jay, damn, like Gyökeres, listen, I love him at Arsenal. Unless there's going to be a breakout striker in Europe in the next 8 to 12 months that we never heard of is going to come through. Or maybe somebody Arsenal wanted him. But we are short. Arsenal was short, in my humble opinion. I think definitely we are short. We are. I don't think the window was strong enough, personally. I don't think it was. I think if we lose to Spurs, we take a massive nosedive in confidence. Yeah, we need to win, man. We need to win yesterday, but yeah. So not talking about transfer windows. But people, what else to discuss? Oh yes, it'd be total remiss of me. Saw this news yesterday. Was it yesterday it broke? About Sol Bamba. Really sad loss, man. 39 years of age, man. He's younger than me. I know he came through. I can't remember, Doug. You're spot on. You'll know this. He got ill quite a few years ago, and he came through that. He's really, really ill. But yeah, the Leeds faithful remember him very well. The Cardiff faithful. I think he spent his last playing days career at Middlesbrough. But yeah, really sad loss for Sol Bamba. Obviously hasn't been disclosed how he passed, but yeah, love and condolences to his family and friends, man, and the clubs that he played for. And he was thought of very, very fondly. Seen him speak a few times on Sky Sports and talks a lot of sense and a great talker, man. So yeah, very, very sad loss, man. So rest in peace, Sol Bamba, man. Honestly, really, really sad. But people, if you don't know what to do by now, this is what you should do. And there you have it, people. Funky little intro into subscribe to Albert J TV. If you haven't got me on Instagram or Twitter /X already, as you're looking at the screen on YouTube and Facebook, follow my Twitter and Instagram handles at the bottom of the screen. And also follow me on my audio links as well, which I will put out a little bit later. But yeah, once again, people, love for the support for the channel, firstly. Massive shout out to the guys. The messages on socials on my phone for appearing on TNT yesterday was incredible. Amazeballs, as they say. So yeah, like I said, the grind never stops, the work continues, man. Because Albert J TV does not do complacency. 1,000,000%. But people, get your virtual waves and goodbyes in now, because Albert needs to go and enjoy the rest of his Sunday in terms of Sunday chores, watching more football, and I like to watch Matchday Sunday at 10 a.m. So yeah, look forward to that. But listen, international break. I should have another episode of Live Stories coming up in the next, fingers crossed, hopefully the next week. Got an amazing guest coming on. I'm really looking forward to having that person on. Look out for the details. Yes, I will continue with the YouTube shorts and the TikTok posts. But people, content-wise, you'll see it. If you've got me on socials, you'll see it. But anybody that's recently subscribed or anybody new, share Albert J TV, please, people. But let me come to the chat quickly. But yes, big up to everyone. Jenny, Hawkine, J Dime, Leanne. Leanne, have we met? I know we've got you on X, but have we bumped into each other at a game? You'll have to come and say hello, man. Because you know what it is, Jenny. You know what it is, Leanne, right? I've said this before, and most people that do content creating will say this. So when you do streams, right, you're never really sure who's watching you. So whether that's people who are on Twitter, people on Facebook, people on Instagram, maybe on TikTok. So when I go to games and people come up to you, like I'm not. They might know who you are, but you're not aware who they are. So it's like I've had to say to some people, you know what? I'll be honest with you, I don't know who you are, man. But when they show me like their social media accounts, I'm like, oh, it's you, like meet and greet and hug and catch up and talk football and the rest of it. Leanne, absolutely. So yeah, it's nice when people come up and speak. I met some great people yesterday, man. Not just in terms of like expressional footballers and rugby players and presenters, but bumped into a fantastic couple from Ireland. They paid a lot of money for the ticket, man. Jeez, but the guy said to me, "Look, my love for Arsenal." I said, "You know what? I get it, man. I get it. I'm sorry you've been bank balanced, but yeah, amazing couple. I think I put in my picture on Instagram. Look forward to bumping into them again, man." I was going to ask people in the chat. Jenny, let me know, or Leanne, whoever, because I'm obviously a Red member, but I still haven't had any confirmation whether I've got the ticket or not for Leicester. That must have come through for some of you guys already. Unless I've completely missed it in my email, I don't know. But I know for a fact, even if I got the ticket, it would come up on my phone from, when money comes out your account from your bank. So I'm assuming I will find out this week coming, because I've not had anything come through yet. But if I don't get one for Leicester, I'll be looking to try and get one from somebody who's out there. But big up to people in the chat. And once again, this is what you should do. And there you have it, people. It's Albert JTV over and out for another Sunday morning match review, or Sunday show, should I say. But like I said, international break, people, and there'll be more content, but I'll like I said, look out for my social media posts and you'll see when it's coming. But like I said, the episode of Life Story is hopefully coming very, very soon. Very excited by that. But that's Albert JTV over and out for another stream on a Sunday morning. That's Albert JTV over and out. See you soon, people.